Hello and welcome to the Alchemist Inkwell.
This is your spiritual podcast for grounded people.
I'm Emily.
And I'm KristaLyn. And we are here. We are in the thick of Mercury retrograde with now Mars retrograde. But Mercury retrograde only has one more week left. So there's that.
It's really, really annoying
It's a
and
lot.
expensive. This Mercury retrograde has been
Yeah.
stupidly expensive, and I'm
hmm
like real ticked about it. Could we not?
Oh, trust me, it's been in my second house. And Mercury is, of course, both of our time lords. So yeah.
Yeah.
Been,
Like, could we not just have me I feel like just a hose with money right now. Just like let's
yeah.
just cover everything with it.
hmm
It's not
Turn it
great.
around.
Right? I'm like, I don't like this. Could we
Yeah.
stop? But okay.
hmm
Um, yeah, we hope your Mercury retrograde. Oh, it's 11:11 here. We hope your Mercury
Oh.
retrograde is going okay and not supremely annoying. Okay, so I've been trying to get my car fixed forever. It's old and I'm probably going to be buying a new car, but um it's old. It just had this weird stalling issue, whatever. So we finally get it in again. This is the fourth time it's gone to the same mechanics for like relatively similar issues. And the mechanic Weston was like very clear, like we want you to get all of the lights that are on the dashboard need to be off. Like you need to do the whole thing. Fix the whole yes, it has the stalling issue, but also like if these lights are not related, fix that
Mhm.
too. Well, they fixed the stalling issue, but there's multiple lights that are still on the dashboard. And she was like, "Well, this is a system. Like these two lights are for a system that you really don't need. It's not like important. We can look at this if you want to, but it's going to cost more money." And I was like, "Fine, but what about these two lights?" And she like didn't really know. And I was like, "Great, great, thank you,
Who's
Mercury. Let me just
who's gonna
continue
know?
to throw money at this thing that I don't want to." Ah.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah,
When the
and that is
person
one
who
of
should
many
know
things.
is like, I don't know.
Uh-huh. It's
That's
very
thanks.
great.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you not know because you know it's going to take you more effort to find out?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you not know because you like don't care? Or like do you not know
Mm-hmm.
because you like just genuinely don't know? I don't know. I don't know about their not knowing. Plus, it's also Mars retrograde.
Mm-hmm.
So on top of that, we all feel angsty.
That's a great word. Angsty. If anybody remembers Harry Potter Puppet Pals, that was that was a big word for that series of episode thingies, whatever you call them. Yeah. Angst.
Angsty. It's
That's
very
great.
angsty. And I know I use that word often because I have three
Mhm.
teenagers. It's angsty up in here.
Yeah. Yep. Suffering from
Uh-huh.
teenage angst. Yeah.
Deeply.
Yeah.
Honestly, at each other more than anything else. And it's just what it is, and I am a young mom. So let's just keep that in mind too. Like I am, pretty much as least removed from teenageness that you can be to be raising teenagers. Like I'm pretty much there. Like this is
Mhm.
and so looking at it and being like, oh, so it's just the fact that you all of a sudden realize you have an ego. That's the
Mhm.
problem. Like you don't have one as you're a kid because no one you don't realize it. And then all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're like, I'm actually the shit. You're like, oh, it's great. Love that. So then we are like disproportionately battling ego, which is again, of course, just a protective tool to protect all of like the
Mhm.
soft, squishy bits you also just realized you had. Right.
Mhm.
So all overnight. It's so fun.
Mhm.
It's so fun. Um
Yeah.
and Mars retrograde, it's not helping.
No, no. And can I go on? We
Please.
planned this rant. I'm just trying to not do it so soon unless it's
Rant it up.
appropriate.
Rant it
Great.
up.
Awesome.
We need
So
the
you
rant.
guys, here's the thing. I'm on social media, like many of us, and I am in a community of astrologers. And I try to keep my circle of astrologers that I'm in community with to be the astrologers that I respect. So sometimes I don't see what the pop astrologers are doing because I'm not in community with them. But I have noticed
What a beautifully roundabout way of saying that.
mine Mercury is natally retrograde. I can work this. But what I've noticed is even some of the astrologers that I am in community with are giving too much credit to something that is incurring more fear than is necessary for specifically the aspect of Pluto transiting through Aquarius. Yes, that did recently occur. Did it occur in such a way that you would attribute many of the things that have happened in the past week to that ingress? No, it should have happened closer to the ingress. However, that does not remove Pluto from the equation entirely. Obviously, society is in a progressive situation. Society always progresses. Don't at me for the word choice. But so society is in this phase where it is going to be doing Pluto and Aquarian things. It's going to do Pluto and Aquarian things for 20 years. It takes a long time. And yes, the beginning of it is a hallmark moment, right? But the real thing that we should be looking at when we want to say, like, oh my gosh, what is going on with the chaos of specifically since what, last Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday, up until this week, that was not Pluto's ingress into Aquarius. Pluto had help in bringing about what Pluto does, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
help came through the planet which was opposite Pluto in a very important part of its own phase of its synodic cycle, the way it goes around the world, around the sky with the sun, and that is Mars. When Mars stationed retrograde, it was within a day or two on either side of that retrograde station, which is traditionally the time you want to look at a planet to see its most poignant significations of its retrograde. We have data from this, and we have dialogue of this going back thousands of years. Mars stationed retrograde opposite Pluto. So Pluto got a hand in to some of those significations. Yes, this is something that is happening on a more global scale because Mars roped Pluto into the conversation, but it is not Pluto acting on Pluto's own. It
Mm-hmm.
is Pluto amplifying Mars's platform to the world. And so that's part of what's going on there. Yes, you are seeing the themes of Pluto and Aquarius there, but they are coming by way of Mars verbs and Mars actions. And they're going back and forth. They are all over the place. They are unstable because Mars was stationing retrograde.
Yeah.
And Rand, thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Oh no, I mean it makes perfect sense too because yes, I think the way I would describe it is our lovely the person who adjusted all our insurance. We're just going to call him the adjuster. We enjoy him. Um, and his deny, defend, or deny, defend, oppose, right?
Defund.
Defund.
DI
No,
defund.
deny, defend, oppose.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was like, what the fuck was that? Anyway, his action, I would say that is a very Mars retrograde action, the way he took that action. I think the people's response is the Pluto in Aquarius.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's the thing that's the
The
difference. So if
longer
you're
term
like
repercussion.
wondering, yeah, right. So if you're wondering what Krista is meaning of like the different things, like that is a perfect example. Like the class consciousness that's
Mhm.
starting to occur, that's Pluto in Aquarius
That's
stuff.
Pluto and Aquarius.
The
Yep.
actions that go are happening are very Mars retrograde stuff.
Hmm. Very well expanded on. Thank you. Yeah.
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 So the cool thing is that class consciousness then that theme is the 20-year
Mhm.
theme.
Yeah. It will
Um,
continue to do what it's doing.
yeah, which is fantastic. But like also Syria getting back their country, that's more of a Mars retrograde thing because that was not
Hmm.
done in an Aquarius peaceful, not peaceful, but like
Well, or even an authoritarian way.
yeah.
It was fought for. Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So there's that. We were talking about the French Revolution a little bit because that is the last time that Pluto be
That
Plutoing.
was the
Like,
last time we heard the people sing this song. Yes.
so if you are feeling those vibes, you're
Mhm.
right.
Yeah. And to be specific, the year that I'm looking at for really matching the pattern of that era
Hmm.
is going to be 2026 and forward.
Yeah.
So we're not quite there yet. But there's a lot that's really building. There's a lot that's happening. Change, as an astrologer, the one thing I will say, change is coming.
Hmm.
How that exactly goes about, I don't want to like spout fear-mongering things. There are multiple options for how a story can unfold and still fit the archetypes. for those speculations, I tend to stick to my Patreon where people have chosen to hear that kind of stuff. So um,
I will say that was messy.
yeah, it's not organized, which is weird, but like I think it gets more organized after next year. Um, because you get Uranus in Gemini. That's what I'm looking at. And Pluto being in Aquarius, those two having the trine with each other. That's really what we're looking for the Do You Hear the People Sing? What we're looking at in 2025, the messy bit is
Hmm.
Saturn and Neptune are going to be in a tight conjunction over the next year or so. And so structure meeting dissolution. That's messy, right? It's literally the
Hmm.
hard line meeting the eraser that wants to blend all the colors together. And that's a lot.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Not to mention, I think there's going to be a lot of like things we thought were structures, but are actually mirages.
Hmm.
Um, kind
Yeah.
of energy too, where we're like, oh, this is definitely a thing. What?
Yeah.
Never
It's
was, never is. Okay.
it's the
Okay.
it's the that panic attack you get when you're waking up from a dream.
Oh
And you're just
God.
like, oh
Ugh.
no. And then you're like,
Ugh.
oh wait. Yeah.
I hate that. Don't want
I,
that.
maybe we don't all have panic attacks when we're waking up from dreams.
I mean,
But yeah.
sometimes.
Okay, good.
I've been having
That's
this
not just a
thing.
me thing, is it? Oops.
No, no, I've been doing a lot in astral lately while I sleep.
Same.
And
You were
it's
with
it's
me
a
in Astro last night.
I was with you in astral last night, actually.
Yeah, did you know that? I
Uh-huh.
haven't brought this up with you yet today, but I
Yeah.
was like, you and I were doing a thing.
I don't know
It was,
what it was. I've been
yeah,
spending a
it was
lot of
wonky.
time in the astral libraries.
Hmm.
Um, oh, you cut out for a second. I don't know if you said something.
Sorry.
Sorry.
You've been spending time in the Astro libraries.
Oh, yeah, I've been spending some time in some astral libraries doing something, insert something here, don't know what it is. But it's
Hmm.
like to the point where when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, what day is it?
Yeah,
I don't remember what day it is, which is not normal for me. Like, and I don't
same.
know what we were doing,
Yeah,
but it feels like somehow related to that astral library quest that I'm
yeah.
on at present.
I woke up and I've been drowsy too. I'm usually like my alarm goes off, I get up kind of
Hmm.
person. Like that's how I
Hmm.
am. The last 2 weeks or so, which is not, I can't even blame it on recovery, you know? Like
Yeah.
I'm feeling
No.
mostly back to normal in that sense. I'm sleeping with a pillow strapped to my back and stuff. But that's not contributing. Like it's harder to
Yeah.
roll out of bed, but it's not harder to wake up because of that.
Yeah.
Um, but it's so weird. Like the only thing I remember, because I remember being in it and I remember you being there and we were having conversations and we were enjoying it. Like we were having a
Yeah.
good time. It felt very air element to me.
Hmm.
And there were tables. We were sitting at tables. That's all I've got.
Basically the same though.
Yeah.
There were books about. That's why I'm like, I don't know if it's in
Yeah.
library
Yeah.
or somewhere
Papers and
else.
stuff. Like,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
It felt kind of strategy meeting like, maybe.
Yeah. But it felt like when we plan our trips and things, you know, how like
Yeah.
we're like, this is what we're
Hmm.
gonna do, and this is what needs to go here. So it felt typical for us.
It
But
did,
yeah,
but
for
different.
anybody who's listening, we're actually just having a conversation
Yeah.
right now because
Which is funny because when we planned out this episode, we were like, we're just gonna
this is gonna
have
lead into
let's just
this.
talk.
Hmm.
So you guys get that now. This is us recording.
I totally forgot to
Recording
tell
what
you
to-
that we were in Astro last night, but it's really
No,
funny that
but
you
we
were there
super were
too.
though.
Yeah.
I remembered that as well. No, for
Yeah.
sure. So yeah, we were doing something. There were
Yeah.
other people there too, but I don't know who.
Yeah. They
Um,
were people walking.
side people. Yeah.
Yeah. Doing their thing.
Over there people. They were over there people, not right here people. Um, yeah, yeah. So anyway, I've been doing that a lot lately, with all of this energy too. So if anyone else is feeling very like very hard to wake up in the morning and you're like, I've slept for 12 hours, what's happening? Or
Yeah.
it's you might be doing stuff in astral. A lot of us are getting pulled into astral to do stuff at night because so many things are up in the air on the cosmic other side level too. Um, there is a lot going on in the universe right now.
Hmm.
Um, as well as down here. I will also say that like big you can feel the stuff changing right now, which is very
Hmm.
odd too. Both on like an energetic kind of cosmic level and then also a down here level. There's like a
Hmm.
feeling to everything, which isn't inherently a bad feeling. It's just a change feeling.
Hmm.
And that's also a very interesting thing to be witnessing.
Yeah. Well, and that's made like future
Mhm.
sight even more complicated
Ugh.
because
Yeah.
I've literally been relying on divination more than usual just because I try to get an answer and it's just like it's like a dial tone or like the busy tone kind of, that's the experience it feels like. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I need to plan for things. So I guess I'm going to
Be-
ask Horary or whatever.
Right, because no one knows more than a week ahead. Like
Mhm.
nobody knows more than a week
Yep.
ahead. Like, and just straight up, when I look at the energy of stuff, I'm like, okay. Every time I look at the future, I'm like, that's like three options or four
Yep.
options, and they all light up relatively similar. These are the four options that we might be going in, and they kind of shift and change. And like the way I describe it, you know how like if you have like a price tracker on like Amazon, right, and like
Hmm.
the price will just arbitrarily change from day to day, just like it feels like that.
Yep.
Like you're gonna get this thing, but are you gonna get it for like really expensive or like really not? Like we don't
Yeah.
really fucking know. So
Like going to the
that's the
airport and
way.
having a gate change. Like you're still getting on
Yeah,
the plane, but which gate are you leaving from?
yeah.
Yeah.
And are you gonna make it? Can you run over
Yeah.
there? Like
Yeah.
it's very much that way. And that this actually leads us really great into we wanted to talk about a little bit about the TikTok ban. Um, we have options about whether or not that really goes through. I would say prepare for it like it's going to.
Hmm.
Um, so if you guys don't know, TikTok, obviously, TikTok ban went through last fall, and they're like, "Oh, it's going to get banned in 2025." Then a bunch of creators actually sued the government, but however, that didn't work. So we just got the verdict this week that that did not work. However, they're now taking it to the Supreme Court to see if the Supreme Court will take the case. If they do, the Supreme Court will basically delay the banning of TikTok until August or something like that after they can rule on it.
Hmm.
But the Supreme Court has the choice of whether or not they're going to take the case. And there's too many factors up in the air right now for us to truly be like, it's going to go this way. I would say, please prepare like it's going to be gone.
Hmm.
Follow your favorite creators on other platforms. We don't have a platform right now that feels the same way. If you're a very big TikTok person, obviously that's not, but that doesn't mean that's not going to happen, right? So I
Hmm.
do think that there will be something else that pops up in the vacuum that TikTok leaves. um However, one thing I will also say, and if you're anything like me or neurodivergent in the slightest, oftentimes you don't want to follow your creators on other platforms. You're like, I like them on this one platform, and I like other creators on this platform. And I totally empathize and completely understand that. However, this is also about setting up an information network for yourself.
Hmm.
What goes away with TikTok is like quick dissemination of information. It's a quick news source. It's a firsthand account, all those different things. Right now, it is incredibly important. Of all the things when I look at the energy, it's so important to set up that information network for yourself.
Hmm.
What is information that you need or that you would like to have on a regular basis about the world or maybe about specific areas of life, spiritual stuff, whatever it is that you really like having? Change the vibes of your other social media to fit that information need.
Hmm.
That's the most important thing. It's not even so much about just following your favorite, like, oh, you really like their funny videos. That's, of course, something that I highly recommend doing too. But also, please like sign up for mailing lists from
Yeah.
your
I
people.
was gonna
Like
say the
that
same
is the
thing.
number one thing you can do for any of your creators. If they have an email list, go sign up for that. If you don't want to change social media, follow them on their other social media platforms. For us, we're both on Blue Sky.
Hmm.
We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram. I'm on Lemon 8. You're on Lemon 8.
I'm
I
on
hate Lemon
Lemonade.
8,
I
but we're
don't do
doing
anything
it.
over there. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's there. I've saved my place. Patreon is where I keep people the most informed.
Patreon as well would be huge. And then we both have mailing lists.
Hmm.
I send out an email every Monday with your energy forecast for the week. And then I'll also occasionally send out different things I'm doing, group readings, etc., that type of thing. But that's about it. But it's a really nice place if you're like, okay, well, I really like your videos, but I don't want to, I don't want to be on Instagram, whatever. Just sign up for the mailing list. And
Hmm.
then if the next social media thing arises, I'll be able to let you know, or Krista will be able to let you know, like where we are there on that space. I don't think TikTok will permanently go, but I don't know the timeline on that or the window.
Hmm. Yeah, it definitely feels like when I look at TikTok and I try to embody TikTok as like a spirit, it feels
Hmm.
like it's kind of in and out. It's very wispy. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it like blinks for a second and then comes back or what it's doing.
Hmm.
But it just feels like if TikTok were sort of a muse or a diamond, um, it's having
Yeah.
a moment.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I will most likely I have an old Apple phone. You can change your Apple Store preferences to a different country, and I'll download TikTok that way
Yeah.
and chill on there and stay on there and still have that presence in being a TikTok creator, just trying to find a way to do that. But I know that doesn't help a lot of people, and that still really creates a disconnect, um,
Hmm.
for the common person. So gonna try to keep finding ways around it if that's the way that it does go down. But I do think it does go down.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure it does, but there's a couple options. So who knows? Because the future is weird. I have also been using divination a lot lately, because the future is really weird right now. The future is
Hmm.
really, really weird, and no one on the other side is really willing to speak on it a ton, because they also don't really know. All of the spiritual beings out there, I keep bugging too, and it's very interesting because it's truly like living in two different worlds. Because like excuse me, because like I just yawned for those of you who are listening. Like, why did you just pause? I just yawned. It's fine. Um, but it's truly like living in two different worlds because on the one side, it's like, okay, like I'm going to talk to these spiritual beings, like, hey, can we help around on Earth? And at the other time, like, they're like, hey, do you want to help out over here? And it's like,
Hmm.
oh, okay, because stuff is just wonky everywhere. Cool.
Yeah. Well, I
Hmm.
remember, and I'm not proud of this, but my spirit, when I was sleeping at one point, shortly after early November, apparently went to different universes and asked if they could live there instead. You remember that?
I do remember that.
And I ended up back here. So I'm not saying that like, and again, I woke up and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, why we know better than this, right? Um, but that is to emphasize the point that like we are here for a reason. There's a function we have here. There's something we're doing here. There's a role to fill. And we may
Hmm.
also be doing stuff elsewhere. And it's going to be really important maybe over the next few years to give yourselves built-in breaks. Like
Hmm.
do plan and plan for and budget for vacations. Do not skip the rest built into your schedule and to your time and all of that stuff. If you can, and if you can make it something of a priority, even if it's just a small little thing like a movie date on some days or having a larger excursion. I think those breaks where our mind can unplug a little bit are going to help a lot. And then also the vacations we take while we're sleeping. So,
Um, Same with excitement. Don't
mhm,
skip the excitement either. If something feels exciting or fun to do, please try to orient yourself towards doing
yeah.
that thing.
Yeah. Because like some people are going to have the best years of their lives happening among the
Yeah,
hardest years in the world.
yeah.
And I'm not saying that the hardest years of the world are coming up. It's a metaphor. Um, but they're not the easiest years in the
Who
world.
knows?
But
Who
but
knows? Straight up. No, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I don't think it'll be the hardest years of the world,
I don't
but
think it's the hardest, but I think it's
yeah.
it's definitely for the people who are of a certain age range, it's an
Hmm.
interesting time for us to be able to say, wow, we're adults. We have ability to do something. We need to make decisions that impact the future. And that's
Yeah.
when you think of it in like a story setting, that's really cool. And so just, remember that. Like this is your time to be the central characters of
Yeah.
something.
Yep. Man,
Hmm.
what a time to
Yeah.
decide to come, guys. We did this
Right.
to
Go
ourselves.
us.
Picked most of us.
Yep.
Sorry, Krista.
I know. That's probably why I was like, excuse me. I didn't pick this. Yeah. But even that, I've investigated that astrologically and otherwise, this is still the appropriate time. So
Yeah. I mean, it feels like an accident to you that you're here, but on
it
the
was an
universe
accident,
scope,
but
it probably
there was
wasn't.
a space that I got to fill. So
Hmm.
here I am. There was a job opening and I happened to fall into it.
Speaking of like that on like time, timelines are fucky right
Hmm.
now. Like they're so messed up. I called him double dutch on the last podcast. Someone said cat's cradle in the comments though, and that is
Yeah.
so much more accurate. And I just
Hmm.
want to like honor that because like yes, it is
Yeah.
totally like a game of cat's cradle where like there is paths forward, but you have to like jump and bend and twist to like get there. Mm,
Do you
go.
remember when we were
Yes.
kids, there was this place
Yes.
called DZ, Discovery Zone. And it was
No.
like Chuck E. Cheese, but way cooler. And you would
Okay.
go there, and it was basically just like an indoor, like the play place of McDonald's, but a whole space. And they
Ooh,
had this thing that you would go through where there were basically rubber covered chains, so you couldn't hurt yourself, and they were like bouncy, and you had to like go through them kind of Mission Impossible style,
okay,
but
cool.
you would go from one end to the other. And that's what it feels like.
Like a ropes course or
Kind
like
of
a laser maze.
like a laser maze, but instead of just walking through a laser and incurring some kind of a trap, you actually have something in your way that you have to like maneuver yourself.
Dodge through.
Hmm.
Okay, cool. I've
Yeah.
never heard of a DZ, but I
Yeah.
live on top of a mountain.
I crawled up into the highest part of it and just laid there away from all the friends I was there with. And I was just like, I feel like I'm flying. And this is like, it's one of my fondest memories from childhood is just hanging out in this net in DZ alone.
Cool.
Yep.
That's oh, I adore you. So was hid from us. They were
Yep.
loud and it was great,
Nobody
which
else
is
was up
totally
there.
fair. Yeah, no, which is totally fair.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have a very I live on top of a mountain, and it's a very small town on top of a mountain. We didn't have stuff at all.
Yeah.
We had the casinos that had arcades in them, and that was like a thing, but it was
Mhm.
expensive, and it still is, and it's gross. But yeah, um, but that's how timelines feel right now. Did I tell my timeline story on here last time? I don't think I did.
I don't think you
About
did.
the earring?
No, you told that to our festival of our traditions of light people.
That's what I did. Okay, you guys,
This is
you
a good
need to
story,
hear this
everybody.
story.
Buckle up.
Get cozy, grab some tea. Um, okay, so this is the craziest glitch in the matrix timeline shifty moment thing I've ever had happen. I'm probably gonna make a video about this too. On that
Hmm.
note, too, I'm just gonna start like shit posting, but just posting like a lot of stuff on TikTok. That's probably going to be varying degrees of like out there because it's no
Hmm.
longer about getting an audience. It's more about like getting on the For You page of the people that are already there. So you're going to see a lot of me in the coming bit of time. And it's going to be like, dang, okay, go for it. Cause I'm doing a lot of like, whatever. I'm just going to post it anyway.
Hmm.
Beside the point. This is going to, it was a crazy, crazy glitch in the matrix timeline shifty moment. So my oldest daughter, has both like two hole piercings in her ears. So like there's like the main one and then the one the back one. And the back one, she tends to wear these like silver hoops, hoop earrings. And we were sitting down on her bed. This was last week. We were sitting down on her bed, and I was like, "Oh no, sweetie, like your earring's out." And I was looking at her right ear, and that hoop was gone. It was in very distinctly in the other ear, and it was gone from that ear. Um, and she was like, "Oh no!" And she like grabbed her earlobe, and she's like holding it, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, it is gone! I thought I just had it. I just saw it in the bathroom. That's so weird. Like it was in my ear." And I was like, "I don't know, but we can look." And so we like turn on all the lights. It was already pretty well lit in the room. This little Jack's head, just hello.
I'm trying to keep him calm, but sorry, guys.
um, no, it was already no, you're good. It was already pretty well lit in the room, whatever. No, so we turn on all the lights. I'm like looking on the floor in her room. She goes in the bathroom. She's looking on the floor in the bathroom. She's like looking in the mirror at her ear. She's like, dang it, like how did it fall out? Like inspecting her ear. She's holding it again. Like the earring is not in her ear. I'm just being very clear. Like I saw it. She saw it. She saw it in the mirror. She touched it. Like it's not there. There's no way it could have been hooked around the other earring. Like it was literally just like not in her face. Um, and so she's like, so then she walks back in. She's like, I really don't want it to be gone. Like, I'm frustrated with this. I'm like, we'll find it. Like, it couldn't have gone far. Like, our carpet's not that thick. Like, we'll find
Mhm.
it. She's like, okay. And she like grabs it one more time. She kneels down. She moves a pile of laundry and grabs it, goes to grab it again. And she goes, Mom, my earring's in my ear. And I was like, what? It is not in your, no, we're looking for it. She's like, no, it's back. It's in my ear. And she pulls her hand away and it's there. Like, it was never gone at all. And I was just like, she's like, what do we do? What is this? What happened? Like, I don't know what to do. It's like, you're fine. It's fine. It's just a timeline glitch in the matrix. Like, this happened. She's like, this is creepy. Like, why did this? So, fair response. Um, but yeah, like if I'm so glad it happened when we were together.
Mhm.
So she was also validating it because it was such a big thing that I think I would have probably just been like, no, 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 if I was like
Yeah.
by myself and like not believed my own senses, but because Shadow was also there, my oldest name is Shadow, because Shadow was also there and like also experienced it, we both like keep every time we like it'll just hit us and we'll like walk by and Shadow will be like, my earring. I'm like, I know.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah, that happened to me. That's how messy timelines are right now. That something can disappear and reappear, like literally out of thin air.
Well, and I think, it's funny because I think mentally we've all been prepared for this since 2020. So much happened where it was like aliens and this and this and this. When they tried to pull aliens on us a couple weeks ago, do you even remember that? Because they were like aliens in the ocean, and we were all like, but do I have to go to work on Monday?
Right. Oh, speaking of that though, aliens are having a moment. Like the
Are
amount
they?
of like, have you been following all the weird drone stuff that's been going
Oh,
on?
yeah. Yeah.
And then there was like somebody was like, they're gonna come and attack us on Monday. I was like, they totally
Yeah. Some
not, but okay.
algorithm predicted a battle in the sky.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think there's stuff going on with them, but I don't talk to aliens because I don't really like them.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not in that circle.
Yeah. That being said, even the government admits that they're interdimensional, which means they can travel between dimensions and
Which
realms,
makes more
which is,
sense.
well, of course, it makes
Yeah.
way more sense. Like, that makes so much more sense. But also, on that note, I don't want anyone to ever disbelieve that you can do astral projection, that you can shift,
Yeah.
that you
That
can
there
do
are
all
other
this magic
dimensions.
psychic stuff, that there's
Some
other
of us fall in
dimensions.
from them.
Like, no, no.
Yeah.
If other beings on other layers of the universe keep
Mhm.
accessing our layer,
Yep.
that's what the aliens are, guys. It's the same with like fairies. Just a different layer of a different universe cake accessing our layer.
Hmm.
Mhm. Oh gosh. It's a lot. It's a lot. So yeah, lean in on your divination. Use your cards, use your pendulum, use your dowsing rods.
Yeah. But also, your cards, your charts, your dowsing rods, whatever, if you ask in an unaligned way, and I'll get into like
Mm-hmm.
what is unaligned versus aligned, they will start mocking you. And they will start
Mm-hmm.
giving you like answers that are all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
In horary astrology, and I'm sure in other traditions too, you have to wait until your question is radical before you can ask the question. And a chart will tell you if the time is radical. But you could even, I don't know how you would do it with tarot or things like that. You could probably just say, is now the right time to ask this question? Yes or no, kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to make sure it's usually when you're coming from a more neutral place of, I'm ready to be informed, rather than I'm panicking, give me an answer. That's how you know. So feel your emotional wave, journal about it, go through it, get to where you've slept on it a little bit or something, then use your divination because at that point you're more receptive. And so whatever is on the other side of the divination helping you out is going to be able to communicate with you more. Just like when we're talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
If someone's freaking out, you can't get through to them. And so you might just be like, you know what? I'm going to wait for you to calm down, then we can chat. It's a
Mm-hmm.
similar thing. Um,
Yeah.
and that also brings me to the cautionary tale of social media diviners. If you're following people on social media who are doing divination and stuff like that, this is the time to get really discerning about which spiritual accounts you are following.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Truly. And a lot of people are going to be showing their true colors in the next really soon amount of
Hmm.
time.
Yeah.
Honestly, like a lot. So you're gonna see that with your social media diviners as well, of them like all of a sudden being like getting stuff wrong or making, weird tweets surface that they did in 2012 or like things like that coming up.
Yeah. I also feel like a lot of people who have been using divination as a way to make a following and be a side
Hmm.
boss or whatever, they're going to lose interest soon.
Hmm.
And so they're just going to drop you.
Yeah.
And so if you've put a lot of investment into that, or you put a lot of energy into trusting that person, you're going to feel the abandonment of that.
Yeah.
So you want to get the people who are passionate, who are in integrity.
Hmm.
That's very important. And they may
Yeah.
not be the ones with the largest followings right now. Likely they aren't. They aren't. Emily, you are an amazing exception. Um, and so is Rebecca, for the record.
I
Um,
appreciate that.
yeah, but just
I
make
do
sure
consider
you're,
myself an educator though, which is different.
yeah, yeah. And that's a better mentality. So
Mm.
yeah, look for the educators.
Even then, like I always like I'll go on like lives on TikTok and I'm just like, what do you do? Because I just go on my lives and I just educate the whole time. Like that's
Same.
all I do. Like and which there was that trend a while back. They're like, what could you talk about for 30 minutes straight? I'm like, so many things.
Yeah.
So
I
many,
spend
many
an
things.
hour every week not talking enough about what I want to say.
Uh-huh. Exactly. And I'm just like, how do people just get on there and just vibe? What do they answer? What your favorite color is like seven
Mhm.
times? Like I don't understand.
So many people are on there just eating. Like
Yeah.
that's I'm gonna stay away from that one. Um,
On that note, I'm hungry. When you said that, I was like, "Ooh, food.
yeah,
Food sounds nice." That's
yeah,
probably why I
same.
was yawning earlier because I really haven't eaten yet this morning. I had a Mercury retrograde morning through and through. I even had to restart my computer while I was on the
Mhm.
meeting with Krista. It was a whole. It's been a time. It's been
It's
a
been.
time. Hmm. Oh, we reminded you of this last week, I think, but I want to remind you again. Please re-up your wards, re-up your shielding,
Mhm.
re-up your protection of both yourself and your house. We've done episodes on how to ward your house. I have a YouTube video on how to ward your house.
Mhm.
Krista, I'm sure, has all the other
I
things
was
on how
talking
to
about it
ward
this
and
morning on the
protect yourself.
live. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, there's tons of resources out there. If you're like, how do I do that? Please, they're all free. Like, it's
I have
all
videos
right
on
there for
TikTok
you.
and Instagram.
Yeah. So please look at those. But it's like a weekly thing now. It used to be like a monthly thing. It used to be like
Mhm.
a yearly thing a couple years ago. Now it's more like a truly a weekly thing. Like
Yeah.
every week, kind of just do a re-upping on your space protection. More and more stuff has access to us, and more energies have access to us, and then therefore our wards are getting outdated really quickly. It's a
Mhm.
whole thing. But especially right now when everyone's very Mars retrograde and emotional, and everyone's very Mercury retrograde and emotional, just an extra layer is a really good idea.
And I want to emphasize it's not because your warding technique is bad. It's like when a water level is rising, you want to make
Mm-hmm.
sure you're making the container taller. So the water
Mm-hmm.
level is rising, the container holds it in, it's fine, but it's got to be, you're going to need a bigger box. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's just like when you cast your wards or place your wards, in whatever way you're doing that, you're doing it in the moment of vibration that you are in the universe, right? Well, as the vibration increases, so it's, those wards become outdated because the vibration of the wards is lower than now the vibration of everything because it's gradually increasing. So then you got to cast them again from that higher vibration, et cetera, et cetera. That's all it is you're just casting from the vibration that you want to protect from. Basically is the energy there. So yeah, just another quick reminder on that
Mhm.
note. 'Cause, oh man. Um,
Yep. The times they are a timing.
ah, they're so timey up in here. I
Mm,
did decorate my house yesterday for like our solstice Yule Christmassy adventures. I do a combination of pagan holidays and
mhm,
Christmas in my house. Um, which was very fun. So like
mhm.
our Heliogena decorations are up, our Yule decorations up. I put a Christmas tree right there. It looks like a gingerbread
You got
Christmas.
one. Yeah, mine's right
Yeah,
here. Whoop.
yeah.
There it is.
Look at that. Look at it. It's like a
There's a little
little.
bird up here too, but you can't. It's right there.
Yeah. I actually strung lights up back here too. I just forgot to turn them on.
I saw them.
They exist. There they are.
Yeah,
Which is fine. My Christmas lights are my favorite part of this time of year because everything gets to
agreed.
be shiny and the energy is so philanthropic. Like it's so lovely. Like we decorate Christmas lights just because it makes us feel happy and it makes others feel happy.
Mhm.
That's it. And
Can we
like
do
the
that
energy of
more
that
in
is
other
so
spaces?
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool. And anytime we like cleanse our house with light, I'm always like a big fan of that. So I'll put like outside Christmas lights all inside. So I like wrap them around my ceiling in my living
Mhm.
room.
I
So my
love that.
whole house glows.
That's the best. Uh,
Uh-huh. I was just sitting there last night, like it's so shiny in here. Love it.
yeah, it's my favorite time just because everything feels so cozy. Like I've
Hmm.
got our fireplace is right here.
Hmm.
And we have stockings for Dan, myself, Jack, and Zelda on the fireplace. And all day long while I'm at my desk, I get to look at that. It makes me so happy. It's the best.
Right?
My pomander is on the hearth above it. I've got three wise men below it because, like, to me, they're the best part of Christmas. So
The
I represent
astrologers are
my
the best part of
astrologers. Of course,
Christmas. Love
we
it.
wouldn't have anything else without them on the whole. traditional Christian Christmas story. Just
Hmm.
letting you all know you only have Christianity because of astrologers.
Okay, one random quick thing about Catholicism. I shared it with you on Instagram because I was fucking hyped. The Pope revealed the nativity scene for this year
Yes.
in the Vatican when the baby Jesus is wrapped in a Palestinian keffiyeh.
Yeah.
And it is so fucking cool. Oh my
Hmm.
God, I cried. I cried so
Yeah.
much. And the Catholic Church has been pretty outspoken this entire time about like what Israel is doing is super not okay.
Hmm.
But they partnered with the Palestinian Coalition in the Vatican City and in Rome and whatever, all this different stuff to like make an actual accurate portrayal
Hmm.
of what Jesus's race would have been. And it just like, it made my heart so happy.
Yeah.
So happy.
Well,
So
it
cool.
blows my like I've been to where Jesus was born, like the spot where the energy there is really nifty. But also it's in Palestine. It's in Bethlehem, which is in
Yeah.
Palestine. Like you go out of Jerusalem, Bethlehem is there. It's a
Yeah.
Palestinian area. And
Yeah.
the people were so lovely there, better
Yeah.
than elsewhere. It was my favorite, safest place to feel while
Yeah.
being over there.
I mean, Jerusalem's in Palestine too. It's all
Yeah,
Palestine. It was all
yeah,
Palestine
yeah.
until World War II. It's
Hmm.
all Palestine.
Yeah,
But
it's
modern,
all
yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks guys for being here. Next week we get to talk. Oh, we forgot to talk about the food.
Right. There's a full moon coming up on the 15th. It's the same day the Mercury station's direct. However, during the actual full moon, Mercury's still retrograde. So don't get hasty with your decisions on that day.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will be
Honestly,
putting
it's
out a
gonna
newsletter
be
on this.
it's gonna be the type of full moon where I'm like, if you don't have to travel, don't.
Don't.
I'm actually going to be at a Yule Ball, so it's going to be real weird to watch. It's a full moon Yule Ball.
Wait. So I just
Huh.
realized, the date that I'm
You're traveling back that day. Oh no, Krista, no.
with Mercury as my time lord, no less. After all the, oh man. Well,
Go slow, have snacks.
yeah, yeah. No, we're gonna be heading out right after a lovely breakfast with a friend. I'm just worried about the day before. Um,
Yeah. Hmm.
oh,
Oh God. Don't make
I'm a great
unnecessary
astrologer. I'm a terrible
journeys.
planner.
Don't
I didn't
swim
pick
in the
this date.
sea.
I should have like when it was first proposed, I should have been like, "Are you sure?" But I didn't think about it at the time.
No. Hmm. It's okay. It'll be transformative. That's what it'll be.
It'll be.
Yep.
I think I have
Hmm.
ideas on what it'll be, but it's okay.
Anyway, our advice is don't take unnecessary journeys.
Yep.
Don't swim in the sea.
If you have to say something where you're speaking your mind and going against the grain, do it with confidence and think about it beforehand so you know what you actually feel and you represent yourself accurately.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't be
It's just
reactive, but don't be inactive either. Know
yeah,
what
and if
action you
you
want
were
to take.
if you work in an ER or retail, I'm so sorry. I'm
Yes.
so deeply sorry for this full moon. Sorrows, stress.
I was going to say
Um
the same thing.
anyway, that's coming up.
Ooh,
And then next week we get to talk to you about the solstice, which is going to be super fun.
yeah. Yeah.
Really like the solstice energy. Just preemptively going to say that. Really, really enjoy it. I think it's going to be a really, really cool energy to embrace
Mhm.
this year. It feels nice.
Yes.
So, yeah, embrace that. And remember, we hope that you, one, two, make
Go
the magic.
make the magic.
I'm so sorry what that lead in was in your face.
Well, Jack started barking at the same time, and I was like, oh no, I can't hear.
You did it. It was perfectly timed. Beautifully done.
Did I? Okay, good.
I don't know. I don't think so.